Can you tell me a bit about the beginnings of Simple Minds, how they started?
Well, we're all from Glasgow really, and it was friends from school who had a common interest in bands such as Roxy Music, Peter Gabriel, Robert Fripp. Then after listening to records and going to concerts, it just became an extension to buy instruments and try and make a sound using hopefully these influences as a basis and building something of our own on top. That was 1978.
Well, 4 years ago. I think you're about 4 years old this year, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe this month.
Yeah.
Sentimental.
So, why do you think Simple Minds haven't made it really until the latest single, I Promised You a Miracle?
I don't know really if it's sort of fair for me to say. I wouldn't like to. A lot of people get angry at me not getting I don't know, upset about this fact. It's just that these bands that I mentioned, sort of most of them never really had hit singles or daytime airplay, and we just sort of I don't know, presumed we'd be of that ilk as well. But about this time last year, we made a world tour. I listened to radio everywhere and found that we were never on the damn thing, and thought it'd be really nice to carry on doing what we're doing, but just with sort of bear more in mind radio play. That took us to January. We started to write some new songs, the first of which was Promised You a Miracle, and the breakthrough just seemed to take care of itself. I'm not really sure why, but for the past 2 years people now have been saying, oh, that single of yours, that should have been a hit, and that should have been a hit, and that should have been but we've never really had any grudge to bear.
Is I Promised You a Miracle a complete change of direction for Simple Minds, bearing in mind songs like Life in a Day and Chelsea Girl?
Yeah, I think all along in our 4 years, I'd like to think that there's been lots of progressions. I would say Promise You a Miracle is the start of a change. Our last two albums, Suns and Fascination and Empires and Dance, they seem to be of almost one type thing. There seem to be continuity between the two albums, and I think that saw the end of one period for us, and Promise You a Miracle was the second. It's a bit more lightweight, and also much more emphasis on melody, whereas before we're always into riffs and repetition and more kind of atmosphere.
So is this now Simple Minds pushing for commercial success?
Well, yeah, I think that is the case, because you see, it's sort of easy to sit and say, oh, we're a sort of cult band and we're happy and feel sort of smart like that, making records for your friends sort of thing. But I think I'd like to keep the two sides. I think it'd be great to achieve where we could keep our own sort of cult original listeners, but it's just really appealing to get across to as many people as possible. I think if you spend all your time and energy in a band as we do, that the best way is to get across to as many sort of people, and that is really important to us just now. I don't mean that I'll be saying the same thing this time next year, but for the sheer sort of hell of it, yeah, I'd like to get a commercial breakthrough just now, purely to see if we could achieve it. Some people say you're not a commercial breakthrough, you're just doing it for the money, but I think you have to be very, very clever just to do it for the money. You'd have to have like 10 years commercial success really to make big money. I think so. I don't think that's the case. I just like to appeal to more people, get excited now seeing people sort of dance and listen to our records, where as before I think we're a lot more self-indulgent about it.
A lot of bands have different ways of writing their songs and bringing home their music. How do you go about writing a song?
Well, now everyone in the band is contributing ideas. Because we spend so much time on the road, we're different from a lot of bands in as much that we actually get inspired. We don't find touring at all grueling. Actually, it's very sort of inspirational. And like say at sound checks, if Derek's perhaps playing a bass line, he plays about, we use the sound checks to try new ideas, and if we have any, we make little recordings of them and save these ideas up throughout the year really, and maybe take about a month in advance to piece them together, try and make them songs, and I think that's the way it's structured. The actual inspiration just comes from everywhere. Things people say, things you read, things you see, things you think about, really.
In the last 4 years since you started in 1978, have you ever felt like giving up at all?
No, I don't think we came into this with big expectations. We were very much fans of music still. A lot of bands get hurt when they get criticised or what looks like failure. We find that very, I don't know, ordinary. What sort of amazes us is when people do like what you're doing, and that always kept us going. There was always, although we never broke through on Radio 1 in Britain and had that, there was always getting, I don't know, interesting letters from people, and people asking you abroad, especially in France and States and things. Just, you could just see that your music was being heard, and it would only take time as long as we kept going and didn't really get too desperate. As I say, I think if we'd been trying to have a hit single, we wouldn't have done it. If we'd been trying to break through, we wouldn't have done it. I think we would have perhaps missed the point. I think we had to develop and take our own time.
You mentioned that you like work, so obviously tours don't strain you at all.
Well, they do, but they strain me in a way that I like. For instance, yesterday was the first time we had played for 7 weeks or something. And after diving about so much, when I awakened this morning, all my bones felt like, really out of shape. Whereas for a tour, you can usually train for 2 and 3 weeks, but we've come straight from the studio where you tend to get rather decadent and spend a lot of time lying on the floor actually instead of training. But no, I find touring great. I love meeting people, young people, and all the sort of views and the characters we meet and the places we see, and it's a sort of real inspiration. It's fun and education as well.
You mentioned you were in the studio. What's that, a new album?
Yeah, it's 9 tracks that we're midway through before our 5th album, which should come about September. After tonight, we'll go back and resume with that tomorrow morning actually. And yeah, again, it's changed really. It's a bit schizophrenic. In some ways, there is the most lightweight things ever, and the other, it's like heavy as hell.
So what sort of thing is the new album going to be? Is it going to be based on I Promised You a Miracle, or is it going to be something different again?
It's like Promised You a Miracle. I find there's no shortage of melody. I think before we used to be too subtle with melody, trying to arrange things, getting clever in technicalities. This isn't like that. It's much more melody, and as I was saying to you earlier, it's kind of hard for me to speak about it just now because we're so much in the middle. I prefer to talk to you in 6 months' time and when I see it clearer.
Glasgow's known as a violent city. You've obviously lived there for a long time, or not so long.
Yeah.
Is it as violent as people say it is?
That's a great question, because I found that I'll give you a good story. Last year we were touring with a band called Icehouse, an Australian band. They came and toured with us in Britain where they were unknown, and they opened for us, and we went and did the same in Australia where we were unknown and they were sort of household name. But anyway, they came and we're travelling up to Glasgow up in the coach, and they said, we're terrified of Glasgow, the reputation and everything. And we said, that's rubbish, it's nothing, We said, where are you staying? And they told us, and we said, well, go down this street tonight, there's good restaurants, good pubs, people will welcome you and it'll be fine. And so we left them to it. Next day we met them and they said, there was people being murdered and people being hit with chairs, and we saw 4 fights. We seen a guy killing his wife. We seen it, and we were like, it's always the same. I think because we live there and sort of brought up, we never really see it. We never feel the attention really, but it's the same everywhere we go that are meant to be heavy cities in New York and Chicago. We're just the sort of same, just just walk in and never really sort of feel it. I think if you're looking for those things, you see it anywhere. But I wouldn't say to people Glasgow's not a violent city, but the reputation's a little bit. Well, I don't see it.
Music, since, let's say, early 60s, has leapt forward very fast. It's now in the age of the synthesizer, the computer chips, electronic bands and everything. Can you see music going any further than it's already gone?
We just see when we use the synth, we don't give it a lot of the respect that I see a lot of bands talking about. We just use it in the same way as we'd use electric guitar and such. I don't really give it the what could I say? I think, yeah, as the years go on, there will be, instruments will get smaller and more electro and things, but I think you'll never be able to substitute great music. There's always the spirit, no matter how the actual instrument is made, whether it's electro or acoustic or whatever. I think a spirit should always be able to get through, and if that keeps happening to me anyway, music will always be worth listening to. I find most music's sort of pretty nice, average, but occasionally you just get some bands who have a great spirit on them, and that's the most appealing thing to me. That little thing that you can't. It's sort of, it's hard to say spirit. It's hard to I don't know, analyse what it is. I think if you turn on the radio, you can be halfway through a song and you hear the song and you just feel great inside, and at the end the DJ says, and that's from blah blah band, and you say, oh, I hate them as well, sort of, I never like anything they've done before, and that's the sort of thing that I can't really analyse. A couple of times I've been to concerts with friends of bands who I've thought, I'm not really interested, I don't like this band, and the band just come on and you don't know what it is, you just feel I don't know, uplifted. And that'll always, if that carries through in me, then music will always be worth playing.
Jim Kerr, Simple Minds, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Cheers.